What if the British monarchy made a decision so shocking, so unexpected that it sent shockwaves not just through Buckingham Palace, but across the entire world? What if one royal decree changed everything for Prince Harry, for Meghan Markle, and most importantly, for their children? And what if Meghan's reaction to that moment became the story the whole planet couldn't stop talking about? Stay with me, because what we're about to explore is the kind of scenario that keeps royal insiders up at night. And trust me, by the end of this, you'll understand exactly why. To understand just how explosive this hypothetical situation really is, you have to understand the world these people live in. King Charles III, the man now sitting on the throne of one of the most powerful symbolic monarchies in the world, has spent decades navigating the tension between royal tradition and modern reality. He ascended to the throne following the death of his mother, the legendary Queen Elizabeth II, and inherited not just a crown, but a family divided. Because within that family sits his younger son, Prince Harry, a man who, alongside his wife Meghan Markle, made one of the most dramatic exits in royal history. In early 2020, Harry and Meghan stepped back from their roles as senior working royals. They gave up their HRC titles in practice, relocated to California, sat down with Oprah, and essentially pulled back the curtain on a life the palace had carefully curated for decades. Their children, Archie and Lilibet, exist in a fascinating and complicated place within the royal structure. They are grandchildren of the king, they are in the line of succession, and yet their relationship with the institution their father walked away from remains one of the most talked about tensions in the modern monarchy. Now just imagine that one day, without warning, a major royal decision lands, something that directly affects Archie and Lilibet, something that reshapes how the world sees them, how the palace positions them, and how Harry and Meghan are forced to respond. Maybe it's a formal change in their titles. Maybe it's a public declaration about their place or their removal from certain royal privileges. Whatever it is, imagine the moment it breaks. The British press would go into an absolute frenzy. The front pages would be merciless. Twitter, now X, would be flooded within minutes. Hashtags would trend globally. American media would pick it up and run with it as a culture war story. Commentators in the UK would be split, half screaming that tradition must be upheld, the other half outraged that children are being used as pawns in an adult power struggle. The international community would watch in disbelief, because in 2025, the world does not look kindly on institutions that appear to punish children for the choices of their parents. And that narrative, that dangerous palace-crumbling narrative, would be almost impossible to control. And then comes Meghan, because if there is one thing we have learned about Meghan Markle, it is that she does not disappear quietly. She is a woman who has built an identity around speaking her truth, and in a moment like this, the world would be watching every single move she makes. Would she go silent, that calculated, dignified silence that speaks louder than words? Would she appear in a carefully staged interview, composed and emotional in equal measure, letting the tears say what her lawyers told her not to? Would she release a statement through her team, measured and powerful, designed to shift public sympathy immediately? Or would she turn to her platform, her brand, her audience, and speak directly to the millions of people who see her not as a duchess, but as a woman who has fought for her family against impossible odds? Harry, ever the protective father and husband, would be right there beside her. His role in these moments is always dual: the son who still loves his family, and the husband who has chosen time and again to stand on Meghan's side of the line. That tension alone would be a story all by itself. From inside the palace walls, the calculus would be extraordinarily difficult. Any decision that touches Harry and Meghan's children doesn't just affect one branch of the family, it affects the institution's entire reputation in the eyes of a global audience that is already skeptical of the monarchy's relevance. The royal family has always operated on the principle that tradition is non-negotiable, and yet tradition has also nearly destroyed them before. They learned that in 1997. They learned it again in 2021 when Meghan sat across from Oprah and said the word unsurvivable. Every move the palace makes in a scenario like this would be dissected, questioned, and weaponized by someone. Go too hard, they look cruel. Go too soft, they look weak. The internal tensions between advisors, between senior royals, between those who want to modernize and those who want to protect the old ways, all of it would boil to the surface at once. And the public would not be silent. Social media would become a battlefield. On one side, fierce royalists defending the crown's right to make decisions about its own institution. On the other, a massive wave of people, particularly younger audiences and those outside the UK, who would view the whole situation as a powerful family using its power to hurt a mother and her children. The tabloids in Britain would do what British tabloids always do: print everything, speculate on everything, and then print the speculation as if it were fact. But internationally, the coverage would be softer, more sympathetic to Meghan, more critical of the monarchy. And that gap between how the story is told in London versus how it's told in Los Angeles, in Toronto, in Lagos, in Mumbai, that gap is where the real damage to the monarchy's global image would live. So here we are. While everything we've explored today remains purely speculative, a what-if scenario built on the very real tensions that already exist, it raises questions that are anything but fictional. What does the monarchy owe to the children of a prince who chose a different life? How does an ancient institution survive in a world where everything is filmed, shared, and judged in real time? And where does Meghan Markle fit in a story that she never fully chose, but that she is now undeniably a central character in? These are questions without easy answers, but they're questions worth asking. Now, I want to hear from you. What do you think Meghan would do? How do you think the palace should handle the next chapter of this story? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you found this video thought-provoking, hit that like button, share it with someone who loves royal drama, and make sure you subscribe so you don't miss what comes next. Because in the world of the royals, nothing ever stays quiet for long.